To begin this demonstration of the school record keeper system, we wanted to cover some of the basics of the different navigation systems in the program, how to access reports and move around the software. We're going to cover searching, finding, and basic navigating. Other portions of this video will cover the distinct features of the software. I'm going to start by logging in the system. And the system always starts off in our personnel screen. Now, our personnel screen is the one place that all users are guaranteed to be able to access. You can restrict access to the other portions of the program, but each user's home screen, this screen you're seeing here, is a guaranteed place that they always have access to. You can control whether they're allowed to edit their information on this screen. This portion of the program can be used as a human resource tool as well. As you can see, we track quite a bit of information about the personnel at your school. It can be as simple as just their name and a username and password on our permissions screen, and somebody can get started using the software. None of the fields are really required, so you can feel free to start light and add data later as your school needs progress. If a user is not going to be accessing the system, but yet you want to track them for their other data components, you can go ahead and add as many users as you'd like to the personnel area. There are no restrictions on record quantity. Yet, adding a record here does not constitute access into the database or editing any records. The program is broken up into primarily 6 main databases. Personnel is the database that you're looking at. We have the student database, our course or classes database. We have locations, which would be rooms and facilities, families or contacts, and admissions. Our classes database will contain one course per enrolled group of students. So if your course is being offered 2 times in a single term, and each course has a different set of enrollment, then you will actually create 2 records for that course. So every time there is a group of students taught by a single teacher at a specific time, then a new class record is created. The class records are not reused as the time when the next term rolls around. If there's a new term or a new academic year, a new record is created. So unless the course is running for multiple terms or multiple years and having the same enrollees, you would not reuse it. Your student database, of course, is the crutch of the bulk of the program. The records stored here would be 1 record per each student. Now, you would not remove a student once they have completed or removed from your school unless you no longer wish to keep records as far as report cards, transcripts in your system. If you want to be able to keep their transcripts, you'll go ahead and keep them here in the student database. We have the ability that you can set a student's status. You can customize these. The default and main status is active. Any other status would be considered an inactive status, which would omit the student from most reports, but still allow you to be able to search for and find that student at any time. The locations database is basically just for the rooms. You will create 1 record per every room that a course could be used for. This program can also be used to track actually room assignments and other activities that occur in a particular room. It could be used for event management. If you rent out your rooms or other people reserve rooms, it can actually be used to keep track of the schedule and what is going on in a particular room. Also, assets may be assigned to a specific room. We'll go more into that later, but you can print calendars and things regarding a specific room, which allows you to track its availability. Families are records that are attached to students. If your school does not keep track of the parents or contacts in relation to a student, this would be an unused tab for your organization. But if a single student had one or more parents, then those parents would be listed here in our family database. All of our family or contact records are in pairs, name 1, name 2, such as a mother and a father. And a single family can be attached to multiple students so that you can avoid duplication in your database. This would allow you to be able to print records for families with one record being, or mailing label being produced for the student. The admissions area is also used mainly for upper division schools, people who have a admissions process. There are a lot of fields available in this database for tracking all courses, types of course data, but the records kept in here are not automatically students. You can have a large database, and when a student's record needs to be created, at a click of a button, portions of the admissions data will be transferred over and linked into the student file, so that when you're then looking at a student, in this case, it says it already exists. I'm going to hit view, and now I can actually go ahead and view the student record. At the same time, when we're looking at the view record, the student record, we can switch back to the application. So we don't have to transfer or store the data in duplicate in the system, since many times admission individuals will get denied or never become a student, and this database can of course be cleaned out at any time. The reporting area of our software allows you to report off of each of the subtabs. Notice we have students, class, personnel, tabs that match our main tabs. So if you wanted to view reports specific to students, you would choose students and you would see a large list of available reports for students. We have a couple special tabs, mailing, which shows you all of the mailing reports regardless of the area, such as personnel labels, student labels, contact labels, and so on. If you wanted to view a report, clicking the report shows you a preview to the side. Now these previews are not real data previews. These are simply photographs of reports at one time full of data, but they do give an idea of the layout of what a report would look like. A short description, as well as any criteria that may be available at the time of printing, is also displayed here. If you wish to print the report, you would then click the Print Report button. Since many of the report lists are quite long and not everyone would be interested in every report that is available, we have the ability to add favorites. Every user in the system has their own list of favorites. Passing your cursor over the plus and clicking would add a report to the Favorites menu. By clicking Favorites, I can see a list of reports that I have previously added as my personal favorites. And of course, I can remove favorites at any time without affecting the report's availability for the future or for another user, but would allow each user to create a custom list of reports that are available to them. Our reports have a number of different types. Many of our reports have the word prompt or found. A prompt report would actually pop up and ask you for specific search criteria and allow you to search for the records and print the report based on the criteria entered. But if your requirements for a search are much more broad and you need to have a search that is more complicated than the available options that are here, you have the option of a found search. What a found search will do is allow you to print the reports based off of whatever was previously found in that database. As an example, if I were to go to students and do a search for records, and I want to do something complicated, like I want to find all the males, and I can now actually switch to another screen, who have taken a math class and perform that find. I found 57 males in our school who have taken a math class. If I wanted to send those students a mailing, I could go to Reports, Mailing. I would choose Student Labels, the found version, and when I printed this report, I would actually get the exact labels for the students that were found. In this case, we don't have addresses for these students, so we don't see an address here. I'm going to cancel from this preview. There are, of course, other forms of student labels. I could print a found of parent labels, and when I print that report, I will get the same report with the parents of, and then that set of parents' names and addresses. Many of the reports in the system can be customized by our staff to meet your specific needs if you cannot find a report that already suffices your needs. In addition, we do have the custom reporting ability that if your staff has some development skills, custom reports can be developed out of the system. There are the functions in our setup area we will cover later as far as specific setup when you're actually getting going in your software. Just to preview here, our system does keep track of a personal set of settings, such as do you want to keep your windows maximized. On a Macintosh computer, it is automatically set to auto. I can choose yes or no. On a Windows machine, choosing yes would keep FileMaker and the School RecordKeeper program consuming the screen at all times. No would be used on a Windows user who had a very large screen and did not want to use the full amount of their screen. The program has the ability for you to run multiple windows at the same time, something that we'll show in a later version of our demo of how you can view multiple students, multiple families, and multiple areas of the program at the same time, but a larger screen is best for that. You can choose to hide the sidebar, which is this area here on the side. The information shown here is a page navigation through the records and is reproduced on most of our screens down here in a little navigation bar. So this is optional, but in the middle of finds and some aspects of the program is convenient to have available. So for smaller screens, you have the chance to hide that. You can tell the program whether or not you want to view print previews or print immediately, as well as you're scheduling records, whether you want to see class conflicts or not. If you're entering schedules and do not care about conflicts, maybe you're entering previous data or data which doesn't have all of its information entered, you may wish to turn off the conflict checking. The funnest and most exciting part of the program are themes. If you don't like the green and lines of this program, find it annoying or boring, we have the option for you to set different themes. You can also choose this on your personnel screen, and the theme is preloaded at each time that you log into the software. So you can choose a theme that matches your personality, and then as you navigate and use the software, you don't have to be stuck with a boring screen. You can change it as often as you like. I'm going to go back to my personnel area, and I can see that I can choose a theme at any time, and the next time I log in, this new theme will be my default theme. And of course, under the setup area, I can change the theme anytime to meet my personal preference. Go back to my Business Plum, one of my favorites. The other tabs here are tabs specifically for configuring options in the software. All of our drop downs, logos, things that you can change on how the program functions can all be modified here in the system, what different grades, what grade point values. So you can customize the program to meet your specific needs without any technical knowledge. This will conclude this portion of the demo. Take a look at the menu of different options for the additional functions and tutorials that we have available here.